Everyone, Richard Robbins here. Hope you're doing great. Well, this next episode, I really think you're going to love it. It was with Whitney Jones. She's a 3 times Miss Fitness Olympian. Like what she's accomplished in her life when she takes you through her journey is mind blowing. And the first time I met Whitney was probably about a year, maybe a year and a half ago. And I looked at her and I just thought, oh my God, like this lady is in unbelievable shape. Like, I mean, unbelievable shape. So I have gotten very close to finishing a 90-day challenge that I was doing with Whitney and her partner, Ashley. And basically what was happening was I was tracking on a daily basis all of my macros, which is, we're talking about proteins, carbs, and fats. And then she put me in a workout program. I had to report every single week. I had to give her all of my macro numbers. I had to give her all of my workout numbers. I had to do my body measurements. I had to take pictures of myself and send them into her every single week. And Sue and I both did it together. And I can tell you that after almost 90 days, I got 1 week to go, I am feeling unbelievable. Like, I mean, my energy level, my mental concentration, my focus. And yes, I lost 10 pounds, which is great. And I know I've gained some muscle mass as well. But I'm telling you, just the way I feel. So what we're going to do in this particular conversation is we're going to take you through sort of, some of the fundamentals of what I was doing for the last 90 days. And like I said, it's one thing to want to lose weight. Maybe it's another thing to want to build some muscle mass. That's all good. But to me, it was more than that. To me, it was how I felt about me, like going through this whole challenge. And because I had to report every single Thursday, like I was in the game because I knew I had to report. And I knew she was going to, read my report. She was going to look at the pictures I was sending in. And because of that, I was 100% in the game. And when I was in the game, I was so proud of myself for executing on the behaviors that I was supposed to achieve every single week. Now, I wasn't perfect. I'll be really honest with you. I was far from perfect, but the difference it made in 90 days for me was amazing. So what I wanted Whitney to do with all of you is to take you through some of the basic fundamentals of what we had worked on over the last 90 days. And that way, what you can do is maybe you'll make some changes. Maybe you'll try some of the things we talk about in here. And she's also got a program called leanlife.com. Please go have a look at that. I think she owns 5 businesses. It's really quite amazing what she has done. And if nothing else, I will say this, she is an absolute true inspiration. Wait till you hear the energy in her voice. Like, it's quite mind-blowing. So I know you're going to enjoy this. So without further ado, please enjoy this interview with Whitney Jones.
It's time to build an extraordinary business and a beautiful life with some of the best leaders and minds in the world. Welcome to the Richard Robbins Show with international speaker, best-selling author, and business mentor Richard Robbins, as he brings his relentless commitment to excellence with in-depth interviews, insights, and experience to help you produce real, outstanding results.
Well, Whitney Jones, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited. This is going to be a fun interview. I can already tell because you like to be extra and I'm totally extra.
I think it's going to be a blast. And I just had the good fortune of going through with you a 3-month challenge, which actually is still going on. I shouldn't say it's, we still got another week or so to go. And it's been, both my wife and I did it. And it's been just a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I'm so glad to have you here because I think with what I learned through the challenge, there's so much for our audience to hear and learn about health and energy. But I want to start here. I go like 3-time Miss Fitness Olympia. So
yes,
that's unbelievable. 2018, 19, and 21, which is, and I have obviously spent some time with you in person, and I can say to you, this lady is shredded. You know what I mean? Like, she is in good shape. Like, you really, really are. So tell us about the whole Miss Fitness Olympia. What is it? Let the audience know what it's all about.
Yeah. So a lot of people, for someone who's not familiar with our industry, they're like, what the heck is it? So the easiest way to explain it is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Everyone knows him. So
Yeah.
it's the contest that he won years ago. And so Olympia is the Super Bowl of our sport. Now, I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't get on stage and flex like Arnold does. So the division I do, we come up with a routine. So it's an athletic fitness style routine that incorporates gymnastics, dance, any sort of elements you want for entertainment. We have certain mandatory moves, but then you get to put your own spin on it and creativity to show your athleticism, to show your entertainment value. Believe it or not, I do break dancing, which is kind of crazy, but that's what we do. And of course, they do judge your physique. You do have to be in shape, but the category I do is more of the athletic performance type category. Whereas, Arnold and the bodybuilders, they get on stage, they flex and do poses, and that's what they're entirely judged on. So mine
Right.
is a little bit more interactive, but that's the part I love. I love the challenge of trying to come up with new tricks and skills and put on a show for everyone.
Oh, that's so cool. That is so cool. Well, for those right now that are listening, if you're not watching, you don't have access to a computer, you probably need to go whitneyjones.com and have a look. Now, you also have a gym called Pro Physiques as
Mhm.
well,
Yes.
which you train. Well, I guess you would train anybody, but I think you also train a lot of pretty serious athletes there as well.
Yeah. So our normal clientele is just everyday people trying to be the best that they can be, lifestyle clients. But
Yeah.
we do have a large amount of clients who are competitive athletes from all over the world who fly in. I coach primarily just women. So I do train a lot of husbands who just want to do lifestyle type training. But when it comes to the competitive athletes, our gym here in Arizona trains a large majority of the top athletes in our industry on the female division. So it's pretty awesome. If you guys are ever in Arizona, anyone listening, and you're in Gilbert, Arizona, feel free to drop in. You might see some people that you think, holy crap, what does that person do? But we're a very open environment, huge community feel. So it's a good atmosphere to be part of. And I love it. I mean, I love going to work every day, and I'm
Yeah.
constantly inspired by all the other people there.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't mind checking it out next time I come to one of the
Yeah.
Genius meetings in Phoenix. Now, where's Gilbert? Is it far from Phoenix?
It's not. I mean, obviously it's pretty quick access. So from Phoenix and Tempe, it's gosh, 15, maybe 18 minutes max. So
Okay.
quick, easy, freeway access. Now, it's not right around the corner,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's everything around like the East Valley in Arizona is right around Phoenix, is like in the middle, and you can get pretty much to a lot of the cool places within 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's really cool. Now, you also have, I did a little research in you, but you also have a third business sort of thing as well, right? Because you sell, fearless clothes
Yeah.
and some apparel, and tell us a little bit about that.
So I own 5 businesses. I have a physical gym, and
Yeah.
then I have an online coaching business, which is where I train a lot of the athletes all over the world. And that's kind of more niche in regards to the competitive athletes. Then I do have my fitness apparel line, and that's Fearless by Whitney Jones. Again, just kind of tapping into your own self to go, what can I accomplish? No excuses, just go after whatever it is your heart desires. So it's all fitness apparel. Right now, it's focused on women. So I was actually launching a men's line when COVID hit. And then still, it is taking time to recover from that. So
Yeah.
the men's line it's still going to be coming out, but decided to kind of change directions in a lot of ways with some of the improvements that I saw. But that's one. And then I have an events production company. So I put on huge fitness events here in Arizona where athletes can step on stage. It's for amateurs primarily. So I have 4 shows that I do here in Arizona with all the divisions from fitness, bikini, bodybuilding, men and women are obviously welcome to join. And then I also have a pro show where, again, pro athletes from all over the world will come and compete at one of the shows here. So that's actually next weekend.
Wow. So you're busy.
Yeah, a little bit.
And you have, don't you have 2 kids?
I do. I have 2 boys. One is a senior in high school, and he's graduating in May. So I'm like, I have 2 months. And it's like, I can't believe he's leaving, but he's going to college. He's super excited. He got a football and academic scholarship. So the mom heart is trying to kind of get ready for that.
Yeah.
And we also have a 15-year-old son who's a freshman in high school. So, but being a mom is the coolest job. I mean, it's hasn't been easy because
Yeah.
no job as a parent's easy, but wow. I mean, I do feel lucky. I feel like somehow I was blessed with some pretty good kids that have made the process fairly easy for me because I'm a
Yeah.
single mom and
Yeah.
crazy busy. And I thought, gosh, I look at some of my friends and think, man, I really did kind of get lucky. So
Yeah.
they're the
Well,
great joy.
well, I'm sure you might have had something to do with that because the parents do have some influence on that. But you're absolutely right. Some of us get blessed with kids that have good genes in
Yeah.
terms of how they work out. Now, before I get in, because I want to talk, because really for every week for the last almost 90 days, I have to send you a picture of me in my underwear.
Yes.
Now, that I'm just going to throw that out there to the audience so they know the type of relationship that we have.
Yeah.
You every single week, and my wife is doing the same thing. And of course, this is all part of this really cool challenge that, has led to me losing 10 pounds. And I've been, I've been far from perfect, but I would say close, and I'm sort of an 80%er. That's why I'd picture how I got through this. I've been really good with the workouts and everything else. And I want to talk a lot about that because there is so many learnings in me for this that I know that the audience can benefit from. And I know you've also sort of got the lean like genius, which is sort of a peak performers where you're going to sort of continue somewhat of the same model for a year period. So anyway, I just want to get that out to the audience because maybe it's something they want to go check out the website because maybe it's something they're interested in. But before we get into all that, how did you get where you are now? Tell us a little bit about your journey. Give us sort of a Cole's Notes of the journey, how you became, three-time Miss Fitness Olympia, Whitney Jones.
Well, it's gosh, my path has taken many twists and turns, which is honestly what I love because you learn from every experience, good and bad, right? If you're doing things right, you're paying attention to go, huh, what can I learn from this? So I was in corporate world, graduated from college, and then was doing kind of the traditional corporate job. Love marketing. So I worked at an ad agency here, loved it, but it was like nonstop hours. My health was declining because I've always been active. I've always been an athlete, and I was just work, work, work. So I started realizing this is taking a toll. And what I would do though is I'd come home from my corporate job at the ad agency and I would train friends, neighbors, family members in my garage. Long story short, I decided one day when I was on bed rest with my second child, you have a lot of time to think.
Yeah.
And you know me. Can you imagine me sitting still for
No,
three
I
and a half
can't.
months? 3.5 months. But it was a big aha moment to say, when you're on bed rest, you realize you take for granted the ability to be active. And so all I wanted every day was to just be able to walk around the room, which I wasn't able to truly get out of bed. So I thought, when I have this baby and he's a healthy baby boy, I don't ever want to take activity for granted. So at that point, I literally went to my job and said, I quit. And I said, I'm going to become a personal trainer. And I had already been certified, but I was doing great at this ad agency. I kind of had my career path set. And then I went and got a job working for minimum wage at a gym right down the street. And it was like, yes, I love this until I got that first paycheck and I went, what the hell did I just do? Oh my God. But the thing was, I thought, okay, I love this. I want to make a difference in other people's lives. We've got to get the message out that everyone is taking the ability to be active for granted. So at that point, I said, all right, I'm going to do this and I'm going to find a way to actually make a living doing it. And I truly believe if you follow your heart, you follow your passion, and you do it for the right reason, you won't fail. So fast forward, I opened up my own gym a year later, and that was my first business. So kind of going, all right, I'm just jumping all in. Things obviously were going well. And then I'm like, all right, I got to get my own goals set back on path. And I got into the industry of competing out of a dare. Literally, as wild as that is, someone said, you could never do this sport. And I didn't even really know what they specifically were talking about, but I'm always driven by, you tell me I can't do something and I'm going to show you that I can. So I was like, yeah, I can. And so they're like, there's no way. I'm like, I'll bet. So conversation ended and I turned to the person next to me. I go, what did I just agree to? So that's how I got into it. And it was honestly just kind of a, let's try it. It was going to be a one and done, but I loved the challenge. I loved learning. I'm a total nerd. So I loved learning the science of your body and taking it to a level of going, okay, let's look at the macronutrients of what you're eating every day and how when you change specific eating habits or what you're eating or portion size, how your body can change dramatically. And then I loved the physical challenge of really pushing myself to, really dial in my workouts, learn new skills as I put together a routine. And I was just hooked. I never did it for a placing ever. I mean, I can say that genuinely. I ended up getting my pro card where you compete at the amateur ranks. And I honestly thought, oh gosh, what the heck does this even mean? And I was just naive to the whole process and I was just loving it. And then obviously I learned about the industry and, what it means to be a pro, but never in my wildest dreams thought I would ever make it to the Olympia stage. I mean, it's only about 12 girls in the world qualify for the annual Olympia. So
Wow.
never did I think I could do it. I got started late in the game. So when I first started competing, I was 34 years old, which that's pretty late in the game for many people who have dreams to get on the Olympia stage. And then I started doing well and I ended up winning my first title at 41, which it's like, what the heck, But again, it was always just trying to set a new goal and enjoying the process, enjoying the journey, and not allowing the judges or the results to validate my own journey. And did I achieve it? Did I do well? It was myself going, huh, can I walk away going, I did the absolute best and be happy about it. If I can, then I won. And no judge would be able to tell me differently. So I think that is a true reason for my success because I didn't care about the outcome. I wanted to know all my efforts mattered every single day to hit the goal that I set out for myself. And it's been a fun ride traveling the world, stepping on insane stages with massive audiences. And it's like, I would constantly pinch myself going, who would have thought? Kind of wild.
What a great story. That is so cool. It's funny. I was journaling this morning, working on just some thoughts. I'm getting ready for a presentation, and I wrote this down. I just turned the page of my journal. The page after I was doing some research, and you said, focus on the process, not the outcome.
Yeah.
And then you'll have success every day, where you can
Yep.
have success every day, right? Because if you attach to the outcome, you don't always feel successful. But the way you handled that was that you didn't care about that. You didn't care what the judges, you just said, okay, I got a process. I'm going to go every day and I'm going to do what I got to do. And let's see what happens, right?
Yeah,
And if you do that, you're a winner every day.
exactly. And
Because
that's the best part.
yeah,
That truly is the
yeah.
best part.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So we'll go back to the challenge that I've been involved in. And as I
Yeah.
said, I've learned so much from this. And there's no doubt in my mind that it has now changed. It's just a complete lifestyle change for me.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited because of the new knowledge that I have. The choices I make now are so different.
Mhm.
And because I know what I need to do, if that makes sense, I can go back and say, well, I didn't always know exactly what I needed to do before. I had some ideas. So you put all this together, and basically what happened was we had to send in a report. Basically, we had to put in a report every single week, and it just talked about our workouts and our diet. And I was using My Macros Plus to track my macros, and you can use Fitness Pal as well. They do the same thing. And obviously your crazy partner there, and she's wonderful as well.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
yeah, that you guys could see what we were doing, what we're eating. And when I'm talking about macros, what we're talking about for those that don't know, because when I first heard macros, I go, what the hell's a macro, right? And I think
Yeah.
maybe a lot of people don't. It's basically what it is your protein, it's your carbs, and it's your fats,
Mhm.
right? That you're
Yep.
putting in. And so what we had to do is literally every single day, or really every meal, I had to track what I ate in this app. And then, of course, it was uploaded right to your app, and then you could see what we were doing. And then also every week we had to take front pictures, side pictures, and back pictures, and we had to send them into you. Um, and plus had to show our weight and all these sort of things. And I've always said that what we measure gets improved. If you constantly measure something, chances are the results are going to improve. And especially if you get on a scale, like to me, I was getting on the scale every day, and I'm not saying that's good or bad, but for me, that works because when I get on the scale in the morning and I see that there hasn't been change, or maybe I went up in weight, well, that causes me to make better decisions today
Yeah.
because in the morning. So then I can say, okay, well, what do I need to do today to get there? And you started this with 82 people. It was a 90-day, basically a 90-day challenge called the Lean Life Challenge. Uh,
Hmm.
and what I'd like to try to get to the audience is what's involved in us all making better decisions. Because we all know, it's input. What are you putting in your mouth, right? What's going into your stomach? And then the second part is, exercise. And I do want to talk a little bit about exercise because I would just love our listeners to have the ability to learn something here that they can easily use moving forward.
For sure.
Now, here was the biggest shocker for me. You wanted me to eat 175 grams of protein a day,
Hmm.
which was basically my body weight in
Yeah.
protein. Okay. And Whitney, I'm going to guess before I might have been eating 100, maybe
Maybe. Yeah.
110, right? I don't know, like, because I never
Yeah.
tracked it before. And I can't believe how much protein you're supposed to eat. So can you maybe first of all explain to the audience why? I'll just give my numbers. So I had to have 175 grams of protein, I think 160 carbs, 100 grams of carbs, and I think it was 55 grams of fat, or maybe it was 60 grams of fat. So can you just take the audience through that and help them understand the theory behind it? And then maybe we can even get into, you and I can have a back and forth about how it becomes so easy to do every day once you understand it.
Sure. So the way that I like to kind of generally explain this is everyone's different. Everyone requires a different amount of calories per day. Now, similar to you, there was a lot of participants in the challenge who came to us. Now, they didn't have 50 to 60 pounds to lose. I mean, a lot of you guys were in great shape already. So then it's like, okay, but you're not exactly where you want to be, or you know that you can make some slight improvements. Almost always, it's not that people are overeating, they're either under eating or they just don't have the right macros. But you have to figure out what is it that your body needs. So your macros are going to be different than your wife's. It's going to be
Mhm.
different than me and anyone that's listening. Guarantee you guys will all have different macro combinations. So it's the ability to kind of take a course about yourself to learn what is it that you need to fuel your body to lose weight? Well, notoriously, everyone is always low in the amount of protein they take in.
Yeah.
Let's be real. It's just the society and the day in the life we live in now. It's easy to get carbs and fats in. That is our typical go to. Or people only think about protein at dinner. So if that's the case, then you're going to be very low on your protein. And for a very true, I mean, everyone knows have a balanced diet. Okay, well, what does that mean? At the very base level, trying to eliminate or have too high of any of the proteins, fats, and carbs is not going to be ideal for you. Finding the right combination takes a little bit of time, but most cases when people start, their fat intake and their carb intake is way too high, and then their protein intake is low. So we've got to balance that out. Now, a standard kind of rule of thumb is for most people, you should take in the amount of protein. So the amount of grams of protein you need should be equal to your weight. Now, that could be totally different again as you dive in. So that's a very generic rule of thumb. But
Right.
for anyone who's going, what should I start with? That's where you should start. Some people need a little bit less. Some people need a lot less. Some people need a lot more. So again, there's a lot of factors that we don't necessarily need to dive into on where that changes, but that's kind of a baseline that we try to start new clients out with. And then we monitor again based on your activity level, as well as how you're currently eating in setting where your carb and your fat intake should start. And there's remember the questionnaire that we started with, there's a lot of information we're gathering from that to design that initial macro plan that is setting your numbers as well as giving you a sample of how to break out those macros. Now, macro counting, as you know, can be daunting and like you want to pull your hair out, but it's a great way to, number one, make people aware of what they're eating. And more importantly, realizing, oh my gosh, this go-to food that I love and that I thought was so healthy, whoa, I didn't realize how bad that was. And maybe it was way too high in fats and very little protein, where now you're so off, your numbers are so off that's why you're not losing weight.
The awareness. Go ahead, sorry.
So it's more at the very beginning stages of helping people realize, wow, I never looked at truly the nutrition label. Yeah. And so macros, even though it can seem like scary, like, whoa, once you really dive in, it takes maybe a couple days of kind of tracking it. And then it's like, I get it. Yeah. I understand my macros, proteins, carbs. And then once you know your numbers on where you start, it makes it easier to go, okay, well, I'm going to follow this plan, but I also want to have a variety. People get bored. So then if you know your lunch, you take your certain amount of macros that you should have in your lunch and you find something that's similar that fits into those numbers and those ranges. And for people who don't, they're like, gosh, that's a lot of thinking. That's where it's our job to go, here's some options for you to make it easy. And then again, you do it a couple more weeks, then you just realize, like, you can look at a meal and go, all right, I know with that chicken breast and those veggies and half a cup of rice, I could knock out what those macros are, because then it becomes second nature. So that's where learning the basics of macros is the perfect foundation for starting to really dial yourself in, whether it's to lose weight or to gain lean muscle mass. It's all about the macros and getting that right formula for your body. And then, as you saw with each week, we would modify based on how your body was changing. And it's not massive changes, but even making small tweaks on maybe lowering your fat and upping your carbs, all of a sudden your body makes those changes, but everyone's different. So as the weeks go by, the macros were all over the board for all of our different participants. No one had the same little flow, but that's what makes it interesting and beneficial for the person to do it. Because again, once you start learning what your body needs, then it becomes second nature to always kind of think about this, no matter what you go to reach for. And, it's the biggest thing for me. I have to have some treats. If I was on this strict diet, I'd be like, I'm out. I can't do it. So we have to make this a lifestyle for people. So, you have your regular untracked meal. Again, it gives a variety. So if you're kind of having a craving for something sweet or something salty, you build it in with your macros. Now, you can't do that every meal, but it allows for flexibility. It allows for variety, and then allows you to have a social life too, where you can go out and not even worry about it and have that fun meal almost as a weekly reward.
Yeah. I found it really rewarding, actually, to understand what I was eating and then to see how it was affecting my body. So an example, and a lot of people are listening to this are going, oh, it sounds complicated, but the app, it was called My Macros Plus, was the app that I was using. And there's also MyFitnessPal. So, all you do is you actually just, you can do it many ways, but I found the easiest way was just the barcode, right? You just, there's a place that says scan barcode, you just scan barcode and it brings up all the macros as well as a bunch of other stuff, but I just wanted the macros. And then I was going to put it in how much am I eating, right? Is it 100 grams? Is it 5 ounces? Whatever it happens to be. And, soon I got one of those little scales in our kitchen and then we knew exactly how much it was. And I would say, probably 2 to 4 days. And then what happens if you tend to eat the same things on a regular basis? They're already in your phone, they're already in your app. So it's very easy just to put that back in for the next day. And again, that new awareness that I now have is allowing me to make really better decisions on a daily basis. But here's what I found really crazy about this is sometimes I needed to eat more food and I didn't want any more.
Yeah.
So dieting, people always look and say, okay, I got to lose weight. I got to go on a diet and I got to eat less food. And I would say I've been eating more food for the last 90 days on a daily basis than I would normally eat, but I'm eating less carbs and I'm eating less fats. And here's what's really happened that I found really interesting. Is I wouldn't have called myself a carb junkie before, but there's no question that, do I like ice cream? Yes, I like ice cream, right? Do I like chips once in a while? I like chips once in a while. I haven't had any of that since we started this, but I mean, but I actually used to have carb cravings. Like I get up and I go, I need something. And you want to know something? They are gone. I have no carb cravings, none. Like now I can sit around and I don't even think about a chip. I don't even think about ice cream. Like there's nothing that's driving me that way. And I guess that's because I'm not putting as many carbs in my body that I've, eliminated the cravings that we get when our body says, oh, I need more sugar. I need more carbs, right?
Yeah. And that's where once you kind of figure out what your balance is, it keeps those cravings at bay where,
Yeah.
like you said, you're going, gosh, I'm eating more than I ever have. Well, you then don't have room for more food, much
Right.
less have those cravings. And
Yeah.
it's just, again, it sounds so cliche to say, you just start doing this and then your body craves it, but naturally it does.
Yeah.
People follow the program. We don't write ice cream in your meal plan every day. So then once you have been away from it for a little bit, you don't crave it all the time.
No.
You don't crave like the chips. You
Yeah.
also may crave more water. So versus people
Yeah.
drinking soda every day and
Yeah.
even activity. I mean, it's interesting to see where in the beginning people would dread, oh gosh, I got to do 20 minutes of cardio. This shoot me.
Yeah.
And then now, end of 3 months, if they don't get their cardio in, they're just like, gosh, I feel like I'm not where I should be mentally. I have
Yeah.
brain fog. I don't have as much energy as I wake up in the mornings. So
Yeah.
your body naturally craves more activity. And then the greatest thing too is one crucial tip that I learned early on was you want your metabolism to be efficient. You want it to work for you. Number one, that allows you to have more freedom in what you eat, and you can have a little more treats here and there as you need. But it's one sign is like your body should naturally remind you every 3 to 4 hours that, hey, it's time to eat.
Yeah.
If you're going 4 hours and your body doesn't say, yo, give me some food, then that's the first sign that your metabolism is inefficient or that it's slowing down. So
Mhm.
even for people who have been following a great program for a while, if you get that cue of, oh my gosh, it's been 6 hours and I didn't have my body remind me, that needs to be an aha moment to go, uh-oh, my
Yeah.
metabolism's slowing down. And
Yeah.
no one wants that as we age. It's like
Yeah.
we need that to be fit, healthy, to have that tight, lean body that we want, to make sure we're fueling our brains
Yeah.
to do what it needs to do, because we typically all need to be pretty on it with our work life.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Very,
that's
yeah,
you.
it's very true. Like I find that my whole body's functioning better. I'm feeling better. And you're right. Like just before I got on this call, I had to have some yogurt because my body was sort of telling me, you know what I mean? Hey,
Yeah.
you need something right before you get on the call. Okay, so that's sort of the diet side of things, and that's just an overview of sort of the diet side of things. Let's go to the training side of things for a minute, because I see people, I like when I'm in Toronto, I have a gym at my house, but when I'm down here in Florida, I go to a gym that's just across the street in our community. And I see people in there. And if there was 12 people in the gym, 9 of them would be on the cardio machines.
Yeah.
And I mean on the cardio machines for long periods of time. I see this. And then they finish the cardio and they leave, which means to me, they're just doing cardio, right?
Yeah.
And when you gave me my training program, it incorporated a lot of resistance training, right?
Mhm.
like more resistance training than cardio. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Substantially more, and you're right. Sometimes your cardio is only 20 minutes long. Uh,
Hmm.
and not that the trainings were that long. I sort of liked the program because I felt that I could do my training in about 45 minutes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, 50 minutes if I'm taking my time, which I
Hmm.
can get that in. Like if you had to give me an hour and a half, I go, really? An hour and a half?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So I find that most of the workouts are about 45, definitely less than 60 minutes, right? And that depends how fast I go. So tell everybody about the theories there, because that was another thing I wouldn't say shocked me, but there's a lot more resistance training. And remember, I'm 62 years old as we're talking right now. And I know that you take all those factors into consideration when you create somebody's plan. I'm
Hmm.
sure somebody
Yes.
30 years old is getting a different plan than
Oh,
me
for
say,
sure.
62. Plus, you also wanted to know my injuries in the sports I play. And of course, I have a lower back problem. I play golf. And I can say this, the first few weeks that I worked out, I could feel my back a little bit, right?
Hmm.
But the exercise you gave me, it has completely eliminated that. I don't feel any lower back resistance, or I'm not worried about something happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
And so again, the training is very customized to the person based on injuries, sports, age, all that sort of thing. So can you talk about the whole idea of the resistance training opposed to cardio and how that should all work out?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it kind of goes back to we program this in. Now, most of the clients that we work with, they're not 20-year-olds who it's like you could go spend hours in the gym. People don't have that time.
Yeah.
Also, as we age, it's very important that you build that lean muscle mass. I'd say 99.9% of the people that I deal with are not trying to look like bodybuilders. I mean,
Right.
even athletes that I train who compete, they're not trying to be big and muscular. But that is what helps. Again, like you said, it's quality of life, it's range of motion. We can avoid getting older, but we can age gracefully where we don't have aches and pains. I mean, anyone that's had injuries through life, if you were an athlete in high school, college, after college, most people have injuries and aches and pains. So being active helps eliminate that and makes your quality of life better. But also, like you're playing golf, the last thing you want is your back tight. We got to build up your core strength. All of that is achieved through resistance training. So it's a different style of doing weight training where it's what are your goals? Your goals are to look good, feel better, create, a shapely physique. But more importantly, you didn't want to lose your swing. So God forbid you grow muscles and start getting a little bit bigger in the wrong areas, because that will totally alter your swing. We want to build that core strength. So that's going to build some speed, but also protect your back. So what are the exercises that will do that? That's how your program was designed. So a lot of times, people doing cardio, that's for fat loss, but people do it the wrong way. They do it too much. They don't fuel their bodies. So they're just sitting there killing it on the treadmill, like hours long. Well, all they're doing is eating away at the muscle. The one thing that people go to the gym to build is now being undone because they're doing too much cardio or no resistance training, or they're just not having that resistance training as a crucial element to their program. And that's how you prevent injuries. That's how you can stay more flexible and limber by doing the right type of resistance training. So it's so important for keeping that bone density as we age.
Yeah.
Resistance training is proven to improve that aspect. So, you hear about people who step off a curb and they break an ankle, they fall and break a hip. Balance, stability, all those things are benefits of resistance training, not cardio. So
Right.
it's easy. A lot of times people are intimidated. Let's be honest. They go to a gym and they're like, I don't know how to use that piece of equipment, or it's been 10 years and none of these machines are anything I'm used to. So it is very intimidating to go, okay, I don't want to look like a fool. Everyone thinks the whole gym might be looking at them, even though that's rarely the case. So what do? They go get on cardio.
Right.
Cardio machines are a lot easier. So it's our job as trainers to help you feel more comfortable, to help teach you proper form so that number one, you don't get hurt trying to lift weights and do your resistance training program. And then one of the new platform that we're launching for our group has exercise demos of everything that's on your program. And it would show the machine. So again, for a lot of people, it takes that fear away to go, you have me doing a one-legged hamstring curl. Okay, well, they see that machine. They probably walked by it for an entire year at the gym, but never realized how to use it. Well, they can just pull up their phone, watch that video and go, ah, I got it. Or
Right.
doing, a dumbbell lateral raise. Well, do you hold it in the front? Do you hold it? How high do you go? All these questions that prevent people from actually doing resistance training now has a solution to go, we're going to be your on-demand trainer. So it's helping people not be afraid to lift weights.
Mhm.
And especially for women, guys are more accustomed to be like, I'll figure it out. I'm not going to feel so insecure. But women, they'll go in and say, I'm going to lift weights today. And then they get in there and it's like, cardio machine.
Yeah.
Oh, but resistance training is crucial, especially as we age, because you need that for your health. You need it for your metabolism. You need to build that bone density. We also don't want to have that saggy skin. No one wants
Mm.
that. Well, if you don't have that lean muscle to help fill out the shape of your body and you're doing way too much cardio that's eating away your muscle, guess what? You're going to have the droopy skin in the arms and the belly and the booty. So we're trying to make sure that everyone can age gracefully and feel so comfortable in their skin.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. So let me ask you this one question, and then we're gonna sort of go the lightning round and have a little fun. So
Sure.
when it comes to, I know a lot of people right now are fasting. Okay. I've heard a lot of people that said, oh, well, I do a 2-day fast, or I do a 1-day fast every week, or I know people have done 7-day fasts and all that sort of thing. So what is like, because the concern always is they're trying to get healthier, but I said in most cases they're trying to lose fat. We got to remember that it's one thing to lose fat and it's nothing to lose muscle, because the last thing you want to do is lose muscle, because as we get older,
Yeah.
we've got to work at it, because we're naturally going to lose it. And we don't want to lose it, in an unnatural way if we can avoid it. So
Right.
what is your thoughts on fasting? Good, bad,
Well,
indifferent?
my personal opinion. So especially if you're going to ask me, I'm always going to be honest. I don't love it unless it's medically advised. So anyone who's wanting or considering doing it, you definitely should run it by your doctor, because, without food, water, whatever your fast, there's so many different ones. There's so many different cleanses that people do. Always check with your doctor, because there's a lot of medical issues that can be exposed or just really amplified by going that route.
Mhm.
Now, there are some religious reasons why people do it, but a lot of what you see is people doing it because they want the health benefits. And in my experience, I've seen a lot of the opposite. I've seen a lot of issues where maybe they're not doing it right, or they've just depleted their bodies too much. They end up passing out. So they've gone to too much of an extreme. So I'm not a huge fan of it for that reason. I'm yet to see true payoffs, true benefits, or proven research to say that this is the way to go. So
Mhm.
it always kind of goes back to, everyone loves the fad stuff that comes out and they're like, oh, wow, or quick results. I mean, everyone wants quick results. But if it sounds too good to be true, almost always is. If it sounds unhealthy, or you're eliminating something completely, like again, any of these crazy fad diets where, all you eat is just protein, or you have no carbs in your diet, or you have no fats, when you completely eliminate something, that's usually not the best foundation. So
Mhm.
always go back to basics. Basics are what has worked since the beginning of time.
Mhm.
So there's no quick results, even any of these things. And right now, Ozempic is huge and everyone's jumping on that. Well, they're now finding these major issues with that. Why? Because it was a quick way to lose weight. It was not a medication designed for weight loss. There was a specific medical purpose for it. And now people are having massive, massive issues and gaining back all the weight. Same thing that you
Mhm.
see with the Atkins diet. So a lot of times it's a temporary win and it's not sustainable. So that's where I'm not a huge fan of the fasts, of the cleanse. I know a lot of people love intermittent fasting. Again, if that's for your lifestyle, that's great. And for certain people, that works very well. Again, I've seen a lot of dangers with that. And then more importantly, most people can't sustain that lifestyle when it comes to real life or holidays or having a social life and going on dates and just trying to be a normal everyday human. You're having to not engage or not to participate in certain social eating activities because of that. So that's where it makes, intermittent fasting something that's not easily attainable when they have to do it over the long term.
Yeah.
So, it's always goes back to if it sounds too good to be true or it seems a little bit extreme, don't always recommend it because there's usually a reason why not everyone's doing it. Or
Yeah.
it's hot right now, but it's not going to be 2 years from now.
It's sort of funny, because you think about it, over the last number of years, we all got these low fat or no fat foods, and that hasn't done us any good. Right? Yes, we got the obesity problem, and you go everywhere, it's no fat and low fat, and Diet Coke and aspartame and all this sort of stuff. Well, that hasn't solved any of the problems.
Yeah, not at all.
Haven't solved any of them, right? Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to go to lightning round. These are fun, easy questions that have no meaning whatsoever, and you can't win or lose, so it doesn't matter.
Love it.
Favorite food?
Donuts.
Ooh. Now, is it true you have a donut every day?
I do. Well, so I haven't had one yet today. So my body does work well on sugar. Now I will say sugar's not the healthiest thing for you.
Right.
But I have found, so I do have some medical issues that actually sugar does kind of work for me as a
Right.
result of it. Definitely not complaining, but depending on my activity level. So I actually, as I go into competitions, as I get
Yeah.
closer and closer to competition day, my body becomes this machine that's just burning. And every year before Olympia, I'm eating almost 6 donuts a day on top of my regular meals and eating my fish and rice and, my veggies and salads. The amount of food I take in is a lot and I need enough calories, but there's only so much healthy food you can get in. So I actually eat Oreos every day and a lot of donuts every day as I get closer to show. Now, my activity level is extreme at that point. So when I'm not in competition zone, I usually do have at least, one a day just as like my treat, and that sugar works for me. But yeah, there are some days I don't get one in, but
You
I
got to
usually get
keep
another form of sugar.
Yeah, you got to keep that activity level up.
Yes.
Favorite movie?
Oh, I would say, gosh, this is tough. The first thing that came to my mind was Shawshank Redemption. I don't know
Yeah.
why, I love that movie, but I love every comedy. So my favorite hobby is laughing, and anything that has any element of comedy, I'm in.
Beautiful. What book should everyone read?
Ooh, I love all of David Goggins' books.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Favorite hobby?
Snowboarding.
Favorite music or musician?
Morgan Wallen, country music girl.
Favorite day of the week?
Saturdays.
Why?
Well, I sadly and admittedly work 7 days a week, and I have for the last 20 years. But Saturdays have become my new norm that I at least take half a day off.
Very good.
That sounds pathetic, actually. I gotta work on my goals.
A dream holiday?
Ooh, definitely the beach. I would say Fiji.
Fiji. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are called the big 3 questions.
Okay.
And a little more serious now. So there's something called a small giant. So it's a little bit like what Joe does with a 10-minute talk, but we teach a small giant, and a small giant is an actionable idea that is relatively easy to execute, that if done with consistency would produce an extraordinary result in somebody's business or life.
Mm-hmm.
What would you recommend to somebody as a small giant?
Gosh. So me giving the advice to someone else.
Yeah. Just a
I would
small actionable idea, not hard to do.
the power of positivity. So I feel like even if you're having a tough day, you being positive, you giving a compliment, even a simple smile or asking someone, how was your weekend? Even if you're in a bad spot, that's going to elevate you.
Yeah.
And it should always have a trickle effect, right? So, especially if you go into work on a Monday, and no one loves Mondays, but if someone walks up to you, hey, did you have a great weekend? And you're kind of going, I can't believe this person, I need coffee. You're going to answer it because most people are polite and it may break you out of that. So the power of positivity, I think, holds more value than people ever give it credit. So
Mhm.
do it for yourself and also do it for others.
Totally agree. I love it. Okay, based on what you know now, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Live by your own terms. Figure out who you are, what makes you happy, and don't let outside influence dictate your route.
Wow.
It's like it's just as you age, you go, gosh, I wish there's so many things. It's like, I wish I would have known. But
Yeah.
I think for the younger generation, especially, they listen to maybe what their parents want them to do or what their friends tell them, go get this job. You're going to make so much money doing this. You've got to do what's in your heart. You got to know what you stand for. What are your ethics? What are your values? And you dictate your path because then you have zero regret and you can learn from your wins. You can learn from your losses and you can't ever blame anyone else. It all falls on you.
I love it. So my tagline is it's a beautiful life, make it count. What's a beautiful life to you?
Family and friends, making sure quality time. Quality time is my big thing, especially like I said, I work way too much. But when I'm with my boys, I am focused. I am in the moment with them. I can't always completely put my phone away, but it's not the quantity, it's the quality. Having deep conversations with your family members, really being the role model, getting on their level, learning their wins of the day, their losses of the day, guiding them. And then, of course, with friends, like it's important to cultivate the people around you that mean the most. Typically are the ones we take advantage of because we know we can get away with not celebrating them or pushing time off with them. So to me, I constantly try to remind myself, make sure that you value and appreciate the ones you love the most and don't take anything for granted.
Wonderful. Really well said. So would you like to take a moment now as we're closing this out? Do you want to tell the audience about the program that you, or would you like to give them a website to go to? Like what could you share with them so that if they were interested in maybe doing something with you moving forward, what would they do? What's it all about? Let them know.
Yeah, so the challenge was the leanlife.com is the website you can go to. And we're starting a new phase on April 1st, but it's ongoing. So the challenge you did was a specific time. It was 12 weeks, start, finish date. Now we're moving into this next phase and it's ongoing. So people can join it anytime. And it's all one-on-one. So we have a group environment, we have a community, we have a Facebook group where people are giving advice, sharing stories, wins, challenges. But everything is just like you said. You have your check-ins where you submit your photos. We design the program. We design your macros and your meals plan. You have that ongoing communication where we are your resource right then and there to help you figure out what's best for you. Now we do have an elite level where it's more if you want like the one-on-one monthly call where we're going through Q&As and we're discussing very detailed things. That's a different level for some people who want that concierge type coaching. But leanlife.com details everything and it's mostly all done through an app. Now, clearly we have these Zoom calls where we have our communication and our check-ins, but everything else is done through the app. There's an in-app macro tracker. It has all your meals there. That's where you upload photos. It has all your workouts. It shows a demo for each exercise. So it's very interactive where you typically are going to have all your tools at your resource in your hand on your phone at any notice. So it's a great program, and we've got some more. I mean, we kind of teased today about some of the new things we have coming forward, but it's a complete personal development program. It's not just about exercise and nutrition, it's mindset. It's really helping you tap into what you're made of and how to make a big impact. Because it was great that you guys did it together, you and your wife. Definitely is always a much better outcome.
Yeah.
But so many people have learned through their challenge and through this program that they're motivating their kids, they're motivating their coworkers, and it's all about accountability. When you know you have to send those photos, when you know you got to upload your macros and we're seeing what you're eating, it's what helps people truly get the results in a much faster route in a healthy way. So it's something that you can maintain. So that's what we're all about. So Lean Life, LEAN, life, LIFE.com is the website. And then, of course, if anyone has questions about me specifically, or, they want to reach out, I can be reached at fitwithjones.com. And of course, social media, I am kind of a goofball, so lots of shenanigans, but on Instagram, it's Whitney Jones _ IFBBPro.com or IFBB Pro. And then of course, Facebook, Whitney Jones. So multiple ways. And, again, I love laughter. I love fun. I love shenanigans, but I also love truly helping people make an absolute difference in their life.
Oh, that's so great. Well, you've been marvelous. I mean, marvelous. Like I've had such a wonderful experience. And I would, if you want to see what type of shape, this lady that I'm talking to right now is in, go look up Whitney Jones, Miss Fitness Olympia, and have a look at some of those pictures. And so you're dealing with somebody that not just telling you how to do it, but that actually done it themselves in a really, really big way. And, again, like you said, when I was doing the intake forms, I have no idea to be not trying to be muscle bound or anything like that. I just like to have more energy. I want to have good mental focus. You know what I mean? I want to feel good about myself. I want to be proud about myself. I always say, I think one of the most important, feelings in the world is the feeling you have about yourself.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You feel like you're going, oh, I didn't get anything done today. That's not a good feeling, right? It's just not a good feeling. You're not proud of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important that all of us are proud of ourselves. I think it's important we don't make it too hard to be proud of ourselves either.
Yeah.
And
some people, the negative self-talk that really brings us down. But that's why these type programs are great, because there's so much in the world on a day-to-day basis that we cannot control, that will always be out of our control. So it's human nature that you want things to control. Well, it's an ability to go, I'm going to control whether or not I get any activity in. Even if your day is slammed, go walk in the neighborhood for 15 minutes first thing in the morning, or make healthy choices. All of us want control of something. So this is a way to go, I can get multiple wins throughout the day because I'm controlling the actions to aid to my goal. And so that's why people end up loving these type programs, because it helps them get multiple wins. And then we got to reframe the mindset where you get rid of the negative talk, you give yourself some grace. Perfection is never anything that we shoot for. And like you said, you go, I haven't been perfect. Nobody is. No one's even close. And someone who says they are, you're like, you probably better question them. Run.
Yeah.
But it's
totally
all about
agree.
just doing your best and giving yourself grace and trying harder. Even if you have a bad day, tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, Whitney, I want to thank you for everything you've done for both me and my wife. And I know we'll continue our relationship, which is absolutely wonderful. And I'll see you in Phoenix. And I'm going to try to get your gym at some point and have a little visit there as well. That'll be a lot of fun.
Perfect. Anytime.
Yeah.
Well, it's been amazing to work with you guys, and obviously getting to know you guys better as well. So it's always a fun journey. And I know we'll see each other multiple times throughout the year, and I look forward to it. Okay.
Thanks so much for being here, Whitney. It's so much appreciated.
Yes, I appreciate you, Richard.
Talk to you.
Bye-bye.
Join us at richardrobbins.com for more in-depth insight and training to build your business and your beautiful life. And remember to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a single beautiful episode.